For most of human history, food wasn't always available. Sometimes you ate, sometimes you didn't. Your body evolved to handle both situations, switching between different metabolic states depending on whether food was present or absent. Modern life has changed this completely. Food is everywhere, all the time. Most people eat multiple times throughout the day. Your body is constantly in fed mode, continuously processing incoming nutrients. But what happens if you do the opposite? What if you ate only once a day, fasting for the other 23 hours? This eating pattern, often called OMAD, or one meal a day, has become increasingly popular. Some people claim it transforms their health. Others find it unsustainable or even harmful. The truth is more nuanced. When you eat only once a day, your body undergoes a series of profound metabolic shifts. Some of these changes are beneficial. Some depend on your individual biology. So let's explore what actually happens inside your body when you transition from constant eating to a single daily meal. When you first skip meals and extend your fasting window, your body doesn't react well. You feel hungry, intensely hungry. This is driven by ghrelin, often called the hunger hormone. Your stomach produces ghrelin on a schedule based on when you usually eat. If you normally eat breakfast at 8 a.m., your ghrelin levels spike around 8 a.m., creating the sensation of hunger. Your blood sugar also starts to drop. If you're used to eating regularly, your body expects a steady supply of glucose from food. When that doesn't arrive, your blood sugar dips, potentially causing irritability, difficulty concentrating, and fatigue. Your body is basically panicking, convinced that something's wrong because you're not following the usual feeding schedule. But here's what's interesting. This panic is largely learned. Your ghrelin schedule adapts. If you consistently eat at different times, your hunger signals shift to match. The initial discomfort is your body adjusting to a new pattern. After a few days to a few weeks of consistent OMAD, most people find that the intense hunger largely disappears. Your ghrelin schedule has adapted. Normally, when you eat regularly throughout the day, your body runs primarily on glucose. Carbohydrates from your food are broken down into glucose, which your cells use for immediate energy. Excess glucose is stored as glycogen in your liver and muscles. When you fast for extended periods, you deplete these glycogen stores. This typically takes about 12 to 18 hours. Once glycogen is depleted, your body has to find another fuel source. It switches to burning fat. Your adipose tissue starts releasing fatty acids into your bloodstream. Your liver converts these fatty acids into ketone bodies. Ketones become your primary fuel source, particularly for your brain, which can't directly use fatty acids but runs efficiently on ketones. This metabolic switch is called entering ketosis, and it represents a fundamental shift in how your body generates energy. Instead of depending on a constant supply of food, you're running on stored energy. This is metabolic flexibility, the ability to efficiently switch between fuel sources. Modern humans eating constantly often lose this flexibility. Their bodies become overly dependent on glucose. OMAD, by forcing extended fasting periods, restores this metabolic flexibility. Every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin allows your cells to absorb glucose from your bloodstream. It also signals your body to store energy as fat and prevents fat breakdown. When you eat frequently throughout the day, your insulin levels remain elevated almost constantly. Over time, cells can become less responsive to insulin, a condition called insulin resistance. This is a precursor to type 2 diabetes. When you eat only once a day, insulin is only elevated during and shortly after your meal. For the other 20+ hours, insulin levels are low. Low insulin allows fat breakdown to occur. Your body can actually access stored fat for energy, which is difficult when insulin is constantly elevated. Keeping insulin low for extended periods can improve insulin sensitivity. Your cells become more responsive to insulin, meaning less insulin is required to manage blood sugar. Lower insulin also reduces inflammation throughout your body. Chronic inflammation is implicated in numerous diseases, from heart disease to Alzheimer's. However, hormonal effects are complex and individual. Some people, particularly women, may experience hormonal disruptions from extended fasting. Reproductive hormones, thyroid hormones, and stress hormones can all be affected. One of the most interesting effects of extended fasting is autophagy, literally self-eating. This is your body's cellular recycling program. Your cells constantly accumulate damaged proteins, dysfunctional organelles, and other cellular debris. Normally, cells have mechanisms to clear this out, but when you're constantly eating, these cleanup processes are suppressed. When you fast for extended periods, typically 16 to 24 hours or more, autophagy increases dramatically. Your cells start breaking down and recycling damaged components. Dysfunctional mitochondria are cleared out. Misfolded proteins are broken down. Cellular waste is removed. This is essentially a cellular detox, though not in the pseudoscientific sense often promoted. This is real, measurable cellular cleanup backed by extensive research. Autophagy is associated with longevity and disease prevention. It appears to protect against cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and other age-related conditions. However, most research on autophagy has been done in animals or in cell cultures. We know it occurs in humans during fasting, but the optimal fasting duration and long-term effects are still being studied. What we can say is that periodic fasting likely promotes autophagy, and autophagy appears to be beneficial for cellular health. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ, consuming about 20% of your body's energy despite being only 2% of your body weight. Normally, it runs almost exclusively on glucose. But when you're fasting and in ketosis, your brain switches to running primarily on ketones. And interestingly, ketones are not just an alternative fuel. They're actually a more efficient fuel for the brain. Ketones produce more ATP per unit of oxygen consumed compared to glucose. Many people report increased mental clarity and focus when in ketosis, and there's a psychological basis for this. Additionally, fasting increases production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is a protein that promotes the growth of new neurons and strengthens existing neural connections. Higher BDNF levels are associated with improved learning, memory, and mood. Lower BDNF is linked to depression and neurodegenerative diseases. Fasting appears to be a way to boost BDNF. Some research even suggests that ketones may have neuroprotective properties, potentially protecting against Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. This research is still preliminary, but promising. OMAD sounds potentially beneficial based on the metabolic effects, but it comes with significant practical challenges and potential risks. First, getting adequate nutrition in one meal is difficult. You need to consume all your daily calories, proteins, fat, vitamins, and minerals in a single sitting. Many people struggle to eat enough, leading to unintentional calorie restriction and potential nutrient deficiencies. Second, some people experience persistent fatigue, weakness, or difficulty concentrating on OMAD. While many adapt, others never adjust well. Individual responses vary significantly. Third, hormonal effects can be unpredictable, especially for women. Extended fasting can disrupt menstrual cycles, reduce thyroid function, and increase stress hormones in some individuals. Fourth, there's a psychological component. For some people, OMAD provides structure. For others, it can promote an unhealthy relationship with food or disordered eating patterns. Fifth, social challenges are significant. Eating is social. If your one meal doesn't align with social eating occasions, you're constantly explaining your pattern or sitting out of meals with others. OMAD is a tool, not a universal solution. OMAD is generally not appropriate for children, adolescents, pregnant or breastfeeding women, people with a history of eating disorders, or people with certain medical conditions without medical supervision. For healthy adults, OMAD can be experimented with carefully. Start gradually, perhaps with 16 to 8 intermittent fasting before extending to OMAD. Monitor how you feel. If you feel good, your lab work looks healthy, and you can maintain adequate nutrition, OMAD might work for you. If you feel terrible or develop health issues, it's not the right approach. The key is individual experimentation with careful monitoring. There's no single correct eating pattern for all humans. Your optimal meal frequency depends on your genetics, activity level, metabolic health, lifestyle, and goals. Some people thrive eating once a day. Others do better with 3 meals. Some prefer constant grazing. All of these can be healthy in the right context. What matters more than meal frequency is what you eat, how much you eat, and whether your eating pattern is sustainable. OMAD is one option among many. It has specific metabolic effects that can be beneficial for certain people in certain circumstances. But it's not magic, and it's not necessary for health. Understanding what happens in your body when you eat once a day helps you make informed decisions. The metabolic flexibility, improved insulin sensitivity, enhanced autophagy, and increased BDNF are real effects, but so are the challenges of getting adequate nutrition, the potential for hormonal disruption, and the social difficulties. Your eating patterns should serve your life, not the other way around.